Christian Iles, known as the Beauty Architect, is internationally renowned for doing hair and makeup for socialites and A-listers. His love for his clients reflects in all that he does. From his luxury hair care line to this show.
If this chair could talk.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Brian.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. Come on in.
Thanks.
So, you've been busy writing your book?
I have. We're working on my third book now. When you cut my hair in your apartment, I was working on my first book, Shattered Image, which was about my struggle with eating disorders and body image.
That's right.
My second book came out just over a year or so ago, was called The Addicted Lawyer, Tales of the Bars, Blues, Blow, and Redemption. And that one is more about my struggles with alcohol and drug addiction and how that affected my career as a practicing attorney here in Dallas, Texas. I'm working on my third book now called The Ambulance Chaser.
Oh, wow.
And that one is fiction.
Oh, it is fiction.
Yes, that one is fiction. But I'm very excited about this book, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it'll be enjoyable to read.
Hey, listen, let's go across the street and get some coffee or something, and let's talk about your books.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Brian Cuban is the younger brother of Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. In his own right, he is an author, speaker, and Dallas attorney who has found his life's calling in helping others overcome addictions after a long and personal battle with bulimia, alcoholism, and cocaine use. Christian was honored to share a few minutes with Brian as he talked about family, love, life, and the one thing that turned his life around.
I'm so glad that you came across the street just to have some coffee.
Sure, I love this place. I did a lot of cocaine right next door.
Did you? Well, take us back. When you were younger, what really first triggered you to have maybe self-esteem problems, and that led you into your different types of addictions?
Sure, I was a very shy child. I was bullied in school, and there was some fat shaming at home. And I was very needing of acceptance as a child. I was a middle child, classic middle child syndrome. And so it's funny, people know my older brother Mark, and as the firstborn, he was very outgoing, selling this door to door, selling that door to door. My younger brother Jeff was a nationally ranked wrestler, good-looking kid, but I was just that quiet kid who just wanted nothing but more to be loved and be accepted. And when you have that type of personality and you're fat shamed and you're bullied, that can have a lasting effect on you, that kind of trauma. And it all kind of accumulated and came to the point where I instinctively felt, okay, well, I'll start starving myself to be accepted by the kids who, in my mind, were the popular kids, the good-looking kids. This was well before the internet. Right. So the kids who were good-looking and popular were the kids I saw every day, the prom king, the prom queen, and I wanted to be that because that's what I equated with popularity, with love and acceptance. And then came the alcohol, then came the drugs, then came suicidal thoughts in 2005, 2 trips to a psychiatric facility, 3 failed marriages, and finally in 2007 going into recovery. It was quite a roller coaster ride.
So did you make yourself throw up? Or?
Yes, I was bulimic, which is binging and purging. I transitioned from restricting, which would be more anorexia, to binging and purging, and I was bulimic for over 2 decades. I didn't go into recovery for bulimia until 2007.
When did your family start getting an idea that, hey, there's something going on here?
Probably about 2006.
Okay, so it was a long time.
Yes, I was able to hide it. As people with addiction know, families who have struggled with addiction, you become very good at wearing masks and hiding it to appear to be the respectable lawyer, the good husband, the great pet owner.
Now, I was honored to hear you speak at Fashion Stars for a Cause here in Dallas, Texas, about your experiences.
Yes, of suicide,
which was amazing. And would you tell me a little bit about? Did you try to commit suicide before you were entered into the psychiatrics, or was it after? Tell me a little bit about that.
In the summer of 2005, I became hopeless that I would ever look in the mirror and see someone I loved, would ever even like myself, that I would ever be loved by anyone else, and that my family would be, I decided in my mind, and this is how suicide works sometimes, that my family would be better off without me. I would be doing them a favor.
Right.
And so I obtained a .45 automatic, and a good friend of mine who I dedicated in part my first book to, who I'd sent some disturbing emails to, got a hold of my two brothers and said, you have a problem, you need to get over and check on your brother. And my brothers Mark and Jeff came into my bedroom, and I had a .45 automatic on my nightstand, and I was planning to end my life. And there were drugs everywhere, there was cocaine everywhere, there was alcohol everywhere. And I remember as they brought me out of the house to take me to the psychiatric facility, my first trip, I remember Jeff saying he has an addiction issue, and I remember Mark saying, well, he's depressed, and they were both right.
Right.
I had been dealing
But it was much more.
Well, I had been dealing with depression since I was a teenager, and depression and addiction can exist independently of each other, even though they were often intertwined, and it had all just come together in this hopeless black hole. And so they took me kicking and screaming down to the psychiatric facility. They're trying to save my life. I just wanted them to leave me alone.
Well, not only that, I remember you talking a little bit about how you used to actually get tickets for the Mavericks and stuff, and you would sell the tickets so that you could get more cocaine, and then you'd get them, and then you would flush them down the toilet, or you would hide them. I think you talked about hiding them in the wall or something.
That's
like
right.
that.
In 2006, the Dallas Mavericks had gone to the NBA championship for the very first time. Mark had bought the team in January 2000. So as you might imagine, we were all very excited that the Mavs were going to the big show, the NBA championship. They ultimately lost, but at that point, we were full of hope.
Yeah.
And as you might imagine, I was going to get some good seats for those games, right? Mark's my brother. So I called Mark up, and I said, hey, I want a couple tickets so I can give them to some friends. And Mark said, sure.
Okay.
I got the tickets, and I didn't give them to my friends. No, I didn't sell them on eBay either. I traded them to my cocaine dealer.
And you became paranoid.
And I became paranoid, so I drove to Home Depot, and I bought electrical faceplate outlets, a drill, and a saw. I came back to my house. I went to the closets in each bedroom, bzz, 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 and I drilled a fake electrical outlet in each closet and hid the cocaine behind each fake electrical outlet. Like the DEA, the cops, and the drug dogs have never thought of that before, right?
Right.
Then I got paranoid again. Bzz, 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 bzz. I take the cocaine out, I put it back in the Ziploc baggie, and I flushed it all down the toilet.
What caused you that kind of sealed the deal and caused you to...
I wish that aha moment came in 2005. It didn't.
It didn't.
I had met my current wife in 2006. We had been dating, and she didn't know anything about these issues. She didn't know about my trading the tickets and stuff, even though we were dating at that time. And in 2007, it was Easter weekend 2007, she had gone away for the weekend to Houston to visit her family. I had gone to a bachelor party down in the Ghost Bar, when it was the Ghost Bar down at the hotel across from the American Airlines Center. And it was a Friday, and the next thing I know, it's Sunday afternoon. She's home. She had moved in with me less than 2 weeks before. She's looking down at me. I'm trying to figure out what day it is. There's drugs everywhere. There's alcohol everywhere. She's trying to figure out if she walked in the right house.
Oh, it was that bad?
Yes.
It was bad.
And so now it's clear to her that maybe Brian isn't the guy she thought he was. I'm trying to think of a lie that's going to explain all this orgy of evidence everywhere that I have a drug and alcohol problem. And all I could think of at that time was, take me back to Green Oaks Psychiatric Hospital. And I thought a couple things. One, there wouldn't be a third trip back because I'd be dead. Two, that she was going to leave. She stayed. Amanda stuck with me, and we dated for over a decade while I rebuilt the broken trust and I found recovery, and we got married. So now, as we sit here today, we've been married over 2 years. So now, not all relationships will survive these things, but ours did, and they can, and relationships can survive it. But I had to do the work. And moving back to that parking lot, I thought about one more thing, Christian. I thought about my father, who was the veteran of the Pacific, fought in Okinawa, veteran of the Korean War, fixed cars growing up, a very middle-class guy. We grew up in Pittsburgh, PA, just fixed cars. The middle of 3 boys himself. I thought about what he used to say to Mark, Jeff, and I growing up. He'd say, guys, and he's joking, of course, wives may come and go. Well, for me, they certainly have,
Yeah.
but he's joking. But when push comes to shove, boys, all you have is each other. No matter where you go in life, no matter what happens, you pick up that phone and you call your brother. You let your brother know you love him. You ask your brother if there's anything you can do for him. And he would say this to us growing up in the 60s and 70s. He understood back then the bond of family, the gift of family.
My father always said family comes
Yes.
first.
And standing in that parking lot, Easter weekend 2007, I realized that whatever else happened, I wasn't ready to throw that gift away. Throw away the gift of family, the gift of love of family.
So it's a rebirth.
It was.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how that gift really stuck with us, Christian, Mark, Jeff, and I live walking distance to each other. And until my father passed away recently, he lived literally across the street from me. I don't mean metaphorically across the street. I mean, I walk out my place over to his place. That is how that gift stuck. That is what saved me.
Yeah. It's family and love.
Family and love.
So I want you to do me a favor. Will you do me one favor?
Sure.
Say, I am loved.
I am loved.
Yes, you
and
are.
you are loved too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice visiting with you.
Nice
today.
visiting with you.
Thank you.
Wow, what a gorgeous place we have here.
Hi, Yvonne.
Good to see you.
I've missed you.
Fine. We are up, you've gone uptown.
I have. Come on
Love
in.
it.
So what have you been doing with yourself?
Well, you know me, I'm staying busy all the time with going to visit my husband and everything and doing all my fashion stars in between. It's keeping me busy.
Fashion Stars for a Cause. yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is my 3rd year to actually kind of be involved with that. I think
Yes,
3rd or 4th,
yes.
and
This is our 13th year this year.
and it's 13th year for y'all. But you've
13th, yeah.
done some amazing things. You've helped raise millions of dollars for, what is it, the North Texas?
Suicide and Crisis Center of North Texas.
Of North Texas.
Yes.
But you've raised millions and millions of dollars to help people who are suffering and who need help.
Yes, and I
right?
tell you, it's been a labor of love for me. I mean, it really has.
Well, I'd love to visit with you a little bit more. And talking about family, I want you to meet my family. I have
I
somebody
would
that I
love to
want
meet
you to meet.
I would love to meet your family.
Okay, perfect.
right.
Let's go this way.
Well, I'd love that.
All right.
Yvonne Crum is the epitome of elegance and grace, both inwardly and outwardly. She has chaired galas, teas, and luncheons to raise money for charities, all while triumphantly dealing with her own battles with cancer, the loss of a child, and her husband's Parkinson's disease.
Welcome to my house.
Well, I love it. I had no idea that. I thought it was brand new. And you said you've been here many years.
Many years. But you know, we were talking about family, and I wanted you to meet my family.
I met your family, and I love it.
Yeah,
Love
come over
her.
here. See, here she comes.
She hears that.
This is my new addition to the
What
family.
a welcoming.
And her birthday, her name is River Iles, and she is a rescue puppy. And she is half Yorkie, half Schnauzer. And her birthday's tomorrow. She'll be 2 years old tomorrow.
Oh, so you're going to be 14 in doggy years.
And if she's looking at me, that means she wants a treat. So I think
So she does get a treat.
But I did want you to meet her.
Oh, I'm so happy to meet her now. I get to know a little bit more of your family every time. I love it.
So she'll be wandering around here. But you know, we've known each other for so many years, and I know that, you know, of course, Fashion Stars for a Cause, which is benefiting the Suicide Prevention Crisis Center of North Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's it,
Suicide
right?
and Crisis Center. in North
Okay,
Texas.
I've been fortunate enough to be involved with that because of you, and do the hair and makeup for the fashion show at the Dallas Country Club.
Yes.
And but what I just think's absolutely amazing is that you've raised millions and millions of dollars for, you know, to help people and for the phone banks. And tell me a little bit about that side of it, because I don't think a lot of people realize how many calls come in.
Oh, it's amazing. And fortunately or unfortunately, I don't deal with that as much. I help bring their awareness.
It's a lot more
but it's a lot in the, you know, during the night, and it's amazing. And I think things have really ramped up now. And I mean, I don't want to go off key or anything, but I think that anonymity that people can have now is causing a lot of trouble with the bullying and all that. And I think so many kids, you know, you and I were talking earlier about the young girl that, you know, that took her life. And it's just, it's unbelievable. And I lost my son, but I lost him to a car wreck. And everyone thought that that's why I found it.
That's what I thought all these years.
But his best friend just could hardly even believe that he was gone, and then he later did take his life, and that's why I took it up. And I was on the mental health board, and Margie August asked me if I would come do a project for them, and the rest is history. And so then this is our 13th year.
You know, what's interesting is that the only reason why I never brought up, I did think that your son had killed himself, and that's how I thought you got involved with that. And the stigma that kind of goes with that is the problem is that people don't want to talk about it. And I was always afraid of talking about it with you.
Well, see,
but I think now we need to talk about it.
I think it's changed. I think it's changed 180 degrees, maybe even 360, that now you can say the word suicide. Most people didn't just say, you know, they just, I lost my this, I lost my that, or he's, you know, passed away. But now I think it's, you know, completion of suicide now is becoming rampant, and sadly, it's becoming in young kids.
Yep.
And it's just,
it's like a 30% increase.
it just breaks my heart. Every day, it's someone new, and then the ones we don't even see. You know, we just see in our, you know, in our circle of friends of how many have taken their lives.
I just lost one last week.
But now that we are talking about suicide and people are saying it, I'm finding a lot of people more receptive to coming on board and doing it, because if they've lost someone that they don't necessarily want to go through that again, or they don't want anyone to know about it, you know, they don't donate because they don't want their name to show up somewhere. So it's just, it's a different way of handling than other things. It really is. And it's very delicate to talk about when someone's lost someone, and there's not a person alive that can say, I know how you feel, because they do not.
Until it happens.
They do not.
Yeah.
No.
I want to touch on a little bit about when I, many years ago, when I was doing your hair, and you had given me a call, and you said, listen, I finished my chemotherapy, and you had a double mastectomy, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And I always remember this day because it was quite shocking to me, and because you know, I know you so well, and it put a face on the disease. And you came in, and I remember I said, well, you need to put a smock on. Our little princess here. You need to put a smock on, and you just took your top off right in front of me. I don't know if you remember that.
Being
But you did.
Being shy has never been one of my.
And I said, what you want? And you go, well, I don't have anything.
I have nothing.
I don't have anything left. But it
Yeah.
really did. It really did
Yeah.
stick with me because, you know, and I lost my mom to cancer as well, and it started with breast cancer, but it really hit home because, you know, I love you dearly and consider you a really good friend, but for you to do that, to me, showed a different side of you. It showed you know, how strong you are, and you're still here. You know,
I'm
and you're
still here,
fighting, and
exactly.
would you tell me a little bit about your? You know, when you found out about your cancer and how you dealt with that emotionally, and how your family dealt with it emotionally.
Well, it was really actually shocking. All of a sudden, I started having a little bit of feeling under my left arm, and we were going up to McKinney the Royal Chef was doing a demonstration, and Dr. Sammy Arslandler was in the car with us. And he said, "What are you keep fidgeting and doing that?" And I said, "Well, there's something there." So he went over and he said, "There is something there." So he said, "You'd be better get it checked." And I think that can prevent a lot of it if you get it checked early. And I think that's why I'm still here today, 10 years later. But he came the next morning to my house at 6:30, got me and took me over to get tested and everything. And we did 3 or 4 days of different exams and everything, and then I had stage 3B plus.
Okay.
And so, but it just, if it had not been for me saying to him then, I wouldn't have gone to but my mammogram the year before did not show it. And it had been within 6 or 7 months.
After you had your mastectomy, I'm sure that they followed up on it. Did it travel to your bones or not? Or
No, I was very, very fortunate.
Because with my mom, it traveled, it caught it too late, and it went to her bone and then went to her brain. And so that was, a really hard experience. But, I love the fact that you allowed me to be the first person to do your hair color and cut after you'd had your hair done.
Yes.
And of course it took 2 or 3 tries, didn't it? I remember that.
And I tell you,
you're like, Christian, this is, isn't exactly what we want.
Well, it came back in.
It kept coming in a different color.
It kept coming in a different color and dark and everything. And I had never ever thought of frosting it or anything, but I just figured I'd be gray. I have not one gray hair in my head. Maybe the chemo killed all of the gray hairs.
Well, speaking of hair, I've been working on secretly developing my own high-end luxury hair care line. And so,
well, how exciting
I know
is
it's
that?
exciting.
I know. I'm so proud of you.
You've heard little bits and pieces over the years, but I finally am doing it, and so I'm going to be launching that. And what I love about the fact of it, it's all natural. There's no animal testing. It's all these wonderful things, and so I'll get to spend the next many years, hopefully, traveling and developing more and more products so that. Take care of everybody and make them look and feel their very best.
Well,
I wanted to share that with you.
Well, I love it, and I'd like to be one of your first customers.
Well, good. I like hearing that.
Yeah.
I know that you're dealing with your husband of
51 years.
51 years, and I know that he's early stages or.
Well, he has Parkinson's, and right now he's really just on the downslide, and it's a roller coaster. I go for breakfast and he seems more alert, and by noon and by dinner he's not, and it's just every day's a different day. And sometimes when I leave, I think he won't be there when I get there the next time, and then sometimes I leave and I think we've got this made, because he'll be so alert. And it's the strangest thing, the way Parkinson works with your brains. But now he's losing all of his motor skills because he can't even hold the newspaper now, and that's been really hard. But I will say this, and I'm the luckiest person in the world. Not one day in our married life has he ever been sick, and he had never been in a hospital in his life. He had his tonsils out at age 6 in day surgery back then, and didn't go in the hospital. And he had never been in a hospital until October of 16.
What do you think has kept you strong?
Just that I can't imagine living without him.
Well, I just, hopes and prayers always for you, and you've always been so supportive of me, and You know, so here's to 20 more years. But I want you to do me a favor. Will you do me one favor?
If I can, I will.
Say, I'm loved.
I am loved, and that's a fact.
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you, Christian.
Thank you for visiting
And I'm so
with
proud
us.
of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you have a life-changing story, please contact me at ChristianIles.com. There's one thing I want you to know. You are loved.
If this chair